Hi everybody! This is lesson 2.1, Ideas that Led to the Independence, the Revolution. For this lesson today, you are going to be taking notes, but you're going to be taking them directly in your notebook. So instead of having a separate sheet of paper, we're going to just do it right in your notebook. And this is how I would like you to set it up. You're going to be on page 4 in your notebook. Up at the top, I want you to have Unit 2, put today's date, and then make sure you write Lesson 1, Ideas Behind the Declaration of Independence. Go ahead and copy down the objective onto your notebook paper as well. Then you're going to draw a line all the way down your paper. It's going to be about 2 inches from the side of the paper, or about 2 fingers width from the red line that margins your paper. On the left side here, these are all the main ideas that you're going to be talking about in this video. On the right hand side is where you're going to be writing down the information that is associated with it. So on the left side, I want you to have background, the Enlightenment, and new ideas. John Locke, natural rights, sovereignty, social contract theory, ordered liberty, Thomas Paine, and common sense. I'm going to give you a minute to go ahead and write down that information. So go ahead and hit pause on the video. Okay, so today's objective is that by the end of class, you will be able to explain how the ideas of John Locke and Thomas Paine influenced the Declaration of Independence by taking notes and reading a graphic novel. The essential question for today that you do not need to put in your notebook is, how did the political ideals of John Locke and those expressed in common sense help shape the Declaration of Independence? Excuse me. On this slide, you will notice that I've got things in red and underlined. That is what I want you to write down on the right-hand side of your notebook. So if you go back to your notebook, the information that I have in red and underlined is what you're going to fill in for the appropriate category on this side. So, the Enlightenment period started in Europe, and it went for about 100 years, from about 1600 to 1700. And during this period was when a lot of new ideas about government and rights came to be. So the first was that the people have rights, and that as people you have these rights, and that they should be respected. The second was the relationship between the people and the rulers and government. That it's not just a ruler and they say whatever they say goes, but there's an actual relationship between them. And these were the ideas or concepts that helped to influence the Declaration of Independence. There's 2 people that we're going to talk about. The first is John Locke, and his ideas were really what influenced Jefferson to write the Declaration. Thomas Paine came around a little bit later, right before the Revolution, but his ideas also helped not only inspire the Declaration, but also motivate the people of the colonies to want their independence. So John Locke. John Locke was an Enlightenment philosopher. A philosopher is another word for thinker, who influenced America. And he did this by his ideas for natural rights. Natural rights are your rights to life, liberty, and property, essentially meaning that we are all free and we are all equal. He believed that the government could not take away any of your life, liberty, or property, or your natural rights. He also believed that government powers, another word for power or ultimate rule, is called sovereignty. So he believed that the sovereignty or government powers should be limited to those the people have agreed to give it. So in other words, the government should not have any power unless you as the people agreed to that power. He also believed in this theory called the social contract theory. And the social contract theory believed that it was a contract between the people and their government. Essentially, we enter a social contract amongst ourselves to protect our rights. So as a government, as a people, we agree with one another that we're going to do whatever we can to protect our rights. In return, the people promise that we will obey the laws and rules created by the government. So if the government protects our rights, we agree that we will follow the rules of the government. However, if the government does become a threat to the people's natural rights, then the people have the right to overthrow that government. We call this ordered liberty. So for whatever reason, the government takes away any of your life, liberty, or property, then you as a person has a right to overthrow that government based on the social contract theory and John Locke's idea. So essentially, we would see a lot of what Thomas Jefferson wrote in the Declaration or what John Locke has already written. Thomas Paine was another big influence to the Declaration of Independence. He was an English immigrant who did immigrate to America. He wrote a pamphlet called Common Sense. Another word for pamphlet is short book. And he challenged the rule of the American colonies by the King of England. Essentially said, what right does the king have to rule us? It was read and acclaimed by many American colonists during the mid-1700s. So this is a little bit after John Locke's writing, but still extremely influential and essentially is what caused a growing sentiment or feeling of independence from England and the colonies. So this is what really made the colonists kind of come together and want to fight for their independence. And that is it for today.